Something isn't adding up with the Raiders, and nobody is talking about it. We see the pieces, we see the hype, but there is a clear disconnect between the theory and what is actually going down on the field. We need to talk about the future of guys who are supposed to be the foundation of our success and figure out if the new coaching staff is really in control or if we have been sold a bill of goods. You feel like something is off? Yeah, you are not alone. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and stick around until the end, because this could change everything. Here is the full breakdown on the first piece of news. This makes no sense. We go into a season with so many questions, and our main weapon for the air game is being treated like a total mystery. I am talking about Jack Beck. We spent a second-round pick on him, a high, precious investment that should be dictating the pace of our offense right now. But what do we have? Only 20 catches in 16 games. And according to reports, the situation is far from getting better. Are we looking at a massive scouting fail on draft night, or does the kid just not have what it takes to shine at the pro level? There is talk that he might be third on the depth chart, which would be, at the very least, a disaster for the front office. And look, nothing confirmed yet, but his silence during this offseason is deafening. While other guys are stepping up, building chemistry with the quarterback, Beck is just there in the shadows. Mo Moton over at Bleacher Report was blunt. He named Beck one of the biggest potential busts for 2026. He didn't mince words. Don't get your hopes up. And if an analyst of that caliber is saying that, the smoke is too thick to be just a little fire. And there is more. The arrival of Jalen Naylor on a $35 million deal puts some extra pressure on Beck that he might not be able to handle. If Naylor and Trey Tucker, who is already being called a silent leader by coach Klint Kubiak, take over the spotlight, the room for Beck is going to vanish. And let's be real, if the team decides to lean heavy into two tight ends with the beast that is Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, Beck is going to be nothing but a sidekick. Is this a smart coaching move to open up the field, or is it final proof that the investment in Beck was a mistake that is going to cost us big when we need points? But hold up, because this next part is what has me worried. They compared him to Puka Nacua from the Rams back during the draft, but Puka was always open. Beck? According to folks watching practice close, he still hasn't learned how to create separation with the speed needed. In the NFL, if you aren't creating separation, you aren't catching the ball, period. He has strong hands, he helps in the run game, but we didn't spend a second-round pick to get a blocker, right? We wanted a nightmare for opposing defenses. The only light at the end of this tunnel, and what is really masking this glaring lack of wide receivers, is Brock Bowers. Thank God he is the exception to the rule. Even coming off a year hit by injuries and an offense that was struggling, he is still being voted by experts as the best tight end in the league. He got votes for number 1 again. That says it all, doesn't it? He held it down with almost 70 catches in 12 games. Imagine if he actually has a consistent quarterback and some decent play calling now under Kubiak. He could blow up for a historic season. But I gotta ask you guys, how long are we gonna keep hiding the flaws in our receiving core behind the individual talent of one tight end? If Beck doesn't prove himself now, in this training camp, we are walking into September with a massive hole in our passing attack. And the NFL doesn't forgive weaknesses, especially in the division we play in. Are we watching the end of the road for the hype around this kid before it even started? Or is this just the pressure of an environment that doesn't accept anything less than perfection? The question is, how much patience do we really have left with this roster? The coaching staff change is the big topic right now. Klint Kubiak arrived with the reputation of a guy who won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks. And a lot of people believe he is the key to turning around this mess that the Raiders front office has been the last few years. From John Gruden to Antonio Pierce, after so many coaching changes, the fan base is tired of promises. What we want is stability, but is Kubiak going to be able to deliver that, or is he just another name on a list of failed attempts? Reports say his attitude in practice is that of a guy who knows exactly where he wants to go. Marcus Allen, a legend who knows the DNA of this team better than anyone, came out and said he is the right guy. He kept hammering on stability, but come on, in the NFL, the word stability comes with a high price. The team made moves in the draft and free agency. That is a fact, but are those pieces enough to turn the silver and black into a powerhouse right away? Tim Brown himself, who doesn't usually sugarcoat things, said this was the best offseason he has seen in a long time. But he is a veteran. He is family. Could all this hype just be some blind optimism from someone who loves this shield too much? The defense got boosted, the offensive line added solid pieces, but none of that matters if Kubiak's system doesn't click right out of the gate. There is talk that he wants a physical, aggressive team that wins in the clutch. That is what we want. But in reality, the transition is painful. He is coming from a winning system, but the guys here are different. Klint's challenge is making these guys buy into a culture that doesn't happen overnight. The question is, do we have time? Will the fans have any patience if the wins don't come in the first 5 games? If that really happens, if he can build that culture, we might be looking at the start of a dynasty. But if it is just locker room talk, we are right back in the same cycle as always. What worries me is this extreme optimism I see in the local media. They talk like success is guaranteed, like the playoffs are just a matter of time. And meanwhile, we look at our division and see teams that aren't sitting still. It is an emotional roller coaster, and the Raiders fan knows exactly how this story ends when we trust too much too soon. I keep asking myself, what is Kubiak's emergency plan? If plan A fails, does he have a backup, or is he going to stay stubborn with his system? It is that kind of doubt that keeps me up at night. Success would be having a coach for more than 2 years, Marcus Allen said. And he is 100% right. The problem is, at the Las Vegas Raiders, 2 years is an eternity. We need results now. If the team is competitive, we can put up with some growing pains. But if we start seeing the same bad habits, the same communication breakdowns on the field, the patience is going to run out fast. The scenario looks promising, yeah, but caution needs to be our best friend until the ball actually starts moving. Do you believe we finally nailed the hire with Kubiak, or are we just putting off the inevitable? The ghost of the Max Crosby trade is back haunting the hallways of Las Vegas. And honestly, I don't know what to think anymore. We know there were talks with the Ravens back in the day that it didn't happen for medical reasons, and now his name is back in the mix. This time link to the 49ers. Brad Gagnon from Bleacher Report dropped the prediction. The San Francisco team is supposedly desperate for a veteran edge rusher, and Crosby would be the main target. Reports say their situation with Nick Bosa and Mykel Williams is more serious than they are letting on. But why would we be willing to trade our biggest defensive leader? Nothing confirmed yet, of course, but the mere speculation shows just how high his value is on the market. The question that has to be asked is, what do the Raiders get if they trade Max? Do they go into full rebuild mode? Or do they believe the return in draft picks would make up for losing a guy who is the soul of this team? He is 29, he is in his prime, producing like a monster, even playing through pain. Trading talent like that is something no fan wants to see, but the cold logic of the NFL sometimes runs over your heart. Some people say he might be coming off his physical peak, that now is the time to get max value before he starts to decline. But anyone who watches Max Crosby play knows he isn't your average player. The energy he brings, the leadership, the psychological impact he has on opposing offenses, you can't put a price on that. If the front office pulls this trade, they are going to have to explain real well to the fans why they gave up one of the pillars of our recent history. If it is to rebuild, we need to be sure the plan is foolproof. And so far, what have we seen that looks like a foolproof plan around here? Crosby says he feels incredible. He said on his podcast that his recovery is ahead of schedule, that he is even getting back to boxing. That is music to our ears. If he is good to go, he is going to be the same nightmare. But is his confidence shared by the team doctors? There is speculation that the health of his knee is the secret nobody wants to fully reveal. And if the 49ers or any other team are poking around, it is because they have access to info we don't. Are we looking at a value-building strategy or an attempt to hide a chronic problem? I can't stop imagining the impact his exit would have. It would be a clear sign that the Raiders have folded on this season. And if we fold now, what is left for the fans? We deserve transparency. We don't want speculation. We want to know if our captain is safe in his spot or if he is just waiting for the phone to ring with an offer the front office can't refuse. It is tense, it is frustrating, and above all, it is a trial by fire for the new management. If they trade Max, they are going to need to deliver a winner in record time or the whole house is coming down. And do you believe Max Crosby should be untouchable? Or if the offer is astronomical, should we consider saying goodbye? We are facing a dangerous crossroads. Between the uncertain future of Jack Beck, the urgent need for stability with Klint Kubiak, and the constant shadow over our leader Max Crosby, one thing is for sure, the calm is over. The 2026 season is going to take more than talent, it is going to take the guts to make decisions nobody wants to face. Now I want to hear from you, is this rebuild on the right track or are we watching a much bigger problem grow right under our noses? Leave your take in the comments, subscribe, and share. We will talk in the next video.